welcome you, sir. And we welcome all for the special lecture. On request of the first year students, there are around 14 of them, 14 of them doing the Samesar paper. And Kajal is taking this paper, sir. I've just completed for them the essence of Pravachan Sar based on the book that you have translated for us. So I've just finished with the Pravachan Sar sort of for them for the theory of knowledge paper. And Samesar they are going to finish. Yeah, over to sir. Over to sir. Sorry, sir, मेरा video off था, sir.
नहीं, it's okay.
हाँ, sir.
Om Namah Devi. Om Namah Devi. So we'll start with a short prayer. So in the first chapter,
Sir, मंगलाचरण sir पहले थोड़ा सा. नमः Samesara. सर आप करेंगे
नहीं आप बोल, मैं बोल देता हूँ फिर. नमः Samesaraय स्वानुभूत्या च कासते चित्स्वभावाय भावाय सर्वभावान्तरच्छिदि. So, in the first chapter, the background has been created. Who am I? I am a pure soul. And what is the purpose of any philosophy or pursuit of religion? Is to experience the self, experience your own self. And that's how the whole background has been created. And the unique concept of experiencing the soul and realization of the pure soul and knowing the concept of pure soul was given in the chapter 1. Now, as we look at the chapter 2, this is also a very unique chapter and difficult to find this both second and third in other literature. It's very exclusively, it has been explained here. Now, what does this say? Because we Ajiv here doesn't mean, we know Ajiv, you know, that Pudgal and Dharmasika, Nastika, Ajiv. But
hello, please mute everybody, Shobha madam.
Hmm.
Please mute everybody.
It's all right. I opened it. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So, of course, all of us, we know that Ajiv means Pudgal and other than soul, all these substances are known as Ajiv. But here in Samesar, Ajiv doesn't mean that. That always means, of course, not that it doesn't mean that, but it goes much beyond that and says that any bhavas or anything or any thought that we have, that is, if directed towards Pudgal, directed towards non-living, then that itself is that bhav, that thought, that contemplation, that imagination itself is Ajiv. So the bhavas that we do, and if the objective of that bhava is achievement of some Pudgal or non-achievement of some Pudgal, then that becomes Ajiv. So that is how the unique way in which this has been defined. It is the bhavas, thought processes that are oriented towards Pudgal. They are known as Ajiv here. So they look like Jeev Ajiv. Both the titles are given because they look like Jeev, but they are really Ajiv. It is done by Jeev, so it is said as if it belongs to Jeev. But then the objective is non-Jeev or non-living things. And that's why it becomes a Ajiv itself. So we cannot go into all details, but anyway, today is a great day. All of you know that it's a great day for all of us. And Akshaya Tritiya is of course, a festival that is known to all of you. So I will take one or two examples from that, starting with this. So take, for example, Rishabdev Bhagwan. No, he did not get ahar for a long time, more than a year, some 13 months and 11 days or whatever it is. More than a year, he didn't get the ahar or food, whatever we say. So what was he doing in that? Was he
सर आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है, ब्रेक हो रही है और थोड़ा सा लाउडली बोलने के लिए रिक्वेस्ट है सर. Am I audible, sir? Hello. Hello.
I think he got disconnected.
हाँ, फ्रीज हो गया है. हेलो. Okay. By the time sir joins, I'll like to inform the audience that we are doing the summary of Jiva Adhikar and Karta Karma Adhikar. In the past 3 weeks, we tried to do the prelude, which is called as the Purva Rang. And there we were told about that I'm a Gyayak Bhav, I'm a Gyata Drishta Bhav, and I'm neither Pramatta nor Apramatta. And then the Gatha told us that Aham Eko Khalu Shuddho, that I am one, I am pure, I am of the nature of Gyan Darshan. So other than Gyan Darshan, whatever bhav you do, that is called as Ajiva. Science tells us the table, chair and all are Ajiva. But we are talking about the pathway of liberation, spirituality. So in this context, we have to understand that other than Gyayak bhav, whatever Shubha Shubh bhav we do, they are all Ajiva. Let us see if sir has joined.
Not
Yes,
yet, ma'am.
sir. Yeah, he's not yet joined. Yeah.
He's
Hello?
joined, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes.
he's
Hello?
joined. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Over to sir. Yes, sir.
some laptop is saying that some error happened, so I just tried to phone. Anyway, so that taking the example of Rishabdev as of today's story, so he was busy in his pure soul, the first chapter. He was a great thinker, and then of course taking a diksha and all those things. He was busy in his engagement with the pure soul, but that occasionally that thought of whatever you call it, hunger or call it desire for food and like that would have come. But then how would have treated it? He would have treated it as a jiva. It is a desire for food. It is not the desire of the soul. Okay, it is happening in the soul, but it does not belong to soul. It has a reason because of karma. And that's why he will treat, or he would have treated those things as a jiva. And that's how the whole concept of jiva is given in Samasa. And that's what exactly they would have followed. He would not, I will go to Karta Karma and then come back again to these things. So in Samasa, 29 bhavas are given actually. And they say that all these belongs to Pudgal. And that's why they are quite different from the experience of the soul. And so that's how it goes. That 29, I will just take one or two examples, that if you see the colors or desire for color or seeing the color, that's not the soul. That color belongs to the Pudgal. Pudgal has different colors. Varnadi or Ragadi say same thing about taste and like that. All types of taste that we see and we know about it, they do not belong to the soul. They are very different than pure soul, and they are really like that. So you can, those of you who are studying can look at Gatha 52 to 55 and like that. And in that commentary, Acharya Amritchandra has given 29 such thoughts. Same thing about Gunstans, all Gunstans, the desire about Gunstan, discussion about Gunstan, knowing about Gunstan, that we do too much, as you know, in our Jain philosophy, we talk about it. But then all these belongs to a jiva. They are not really jiva's thing. We say that jiva has moved from one Gunstan to another Gunstan, but really it is the thought about Gunstan. Say if a monk or a grihastha household person thinks that in what Gunstan am I, then exactly he is thinking the reverse. He should think that I am a pure soul. And as he progresses, okay, Gunstan may also change. But concentration on Gunstan or knowing more about Gunstan, that really belongs to a Jeev only and not Jeev. So like that, Varganas and then whatever, one sense, two sense, ekendriya, doendriya, exactly. Those all things belongs to the body, and that they are not belonging to the pure soul. Marganasthan, Gunstan, everything that we study other than pure soul, they all belong to the Ajiv. And that's why a unique concept is given here, where all those things are treated as Ajiv. While we think that we are Ajiv, we have done it, or we are like that. Okay, that I'm a monk or I'm a household, and like that we think about it. But that's really not or we pray to whatever our acharyas, monks, and so many things, or even Anant Paramatma, that all actually oriented towards Ajiv, non-living things, and not really belonging to the soul. Why non-living? Because, as I said, it arises because of karma. It happens due to karma. Gunstan and like that, certain karmas get destroyed. So you move from one Gunstan to another Gunstan. Even Samyak Darshan, if it is not referred to the pure soul experience, then Samyak Darshan also means, okay, destruction of certain Muni karmas or Ananta Anubandhi karmas and things like that. So that's how all these, all concepts about karma and how do we destroy the karma, they all really belong to non-living type of things and not really to the soul. So this unique thing we have to keep in mind as far as the Jiva Jivadikar is concerned. So all kinds of things, and it is summarized that let these thoughts about Pudgal, let these thought about karmas, let these thoughts about Gunstan, Marganasthan, senses, and so on, four modes of existence, gatis, they all belong to Ajiv and has nothing to do with the Atma, nothing to do with the real pure soul. The explanation for that can be given as that they arise due to karma. I'm repeating the same because it has to be done to make a point that most of these things arise because of karmas, and mainly through delusion, Moni karma, because of darshan Moni. So delusion about the faith, and that leads to rise of these karmas, bondage of these karmas, and that's how we have created bondage in the past, and they come to us as a fusion. We can also say that all these bhavas, from color to the attachments and all those things relating to karmas, etc., they really Jeev doesn't really do it, okay, because Jeev can do its own work. That will be second chapter, but here the essence we take it out as that Jeev can do Jeev's bhav, and Pudgal can do Pudgal bhavs. Jeev cannot do Pudgal Bhav, and Pudgal cannot do Jeev Bhav, and hence there is no uh, actually no relation as such. But in practice, in Vyavhar, sometimes we identify the Jeev because of these bhavas. And that's okay. That's for the identification purpose. And that's what we call from Vyavhar angle. But really speaking, they do not belong to the soul. They are completely different from the soul. It is not the function of soul also to do these kind of things. Then why does the soul do these kind of bhavas? Soul does it because of ignorance, because of mithyatva, because of delusion, because of ignorance, whatever way we want to say, because of not knowing the soul, not knowing the pure soul. So those who do not know the pure soul, they ascribe or attribute these bhavas to the soul, and as if the soul has done. But really speaking, it is not so. It happens because of its own way. And as I said about today's Rishabh Dev's story, that he might have not taken aha for whatever more than a year, then actually what he might be thinking that my soul is anahara, my soul doesn't get, soul doesn't need any food. Why do I need food? Okay. But that idea of food might disturb sometimes, destabilizes the process of meditation on the pure soul. And that's why one goes out and looks for ahar. But they really do not bother about it. They have a endurance, physical also endurance. But more than that, that is not so important. They are so busy in pursuit of pure soul that they forget about the food and life. As we know that for the initial period, for 6 months, he never thought about or never even imagined about getting a food and life. But then later on, the idea came. And then he goes and doesn't get it for a long time, for more than 6 months. And then ultimately, of course, he gets it. So the point I wanted to say is that it is considering that as a jeev, okay? Considering as not belonging to soul, that such a idea is the only thing is that we can summarize by one sentence and then go to the next chapter. The Samyak Drishti, the person with the right faith, one who has realized that I am a pure soul. Samyak Drishti means one who realizes and knows that I am a pure soul. Main Shuddhatma hu. If that realization comes, then that person is a Samyak Drishti. And how the Samyak Drishti will view all these Aji Bhavas? So Samyak Drishti views all these Bhavas as Aji, other than giving to the pure soul. So never be very proud. I mean, we feel always that, okay, I got the brightest idea. I explained in the best possible manner. You look, I have written these books, and like that, so many things we say, okay. Soul doesn't write a book, okay. It just happens a process that some idea comes and somebody writes it and somebody owns it. But the Samyak Drishti person will not own it. Even if that idea has come to him, he has spoken it, but he will not say that this belongs to me, or this is my idea, or this is my research, or this is my thesis, and this is my achievement, this is the award I got, and so many things. Because such monks, such people with right perception or right faith, having Samyak Darshan, they all treat other than the pure soul as of no consequence, no relevance at all, even in a moksha marg. Although it is written in these scriptures about so many karmas and types of karmas and rise of karmas and destruction of karmas and so on, but really doesn't belong to the pure soul. And if that kind of a disowning all these bhavas that oriented towards Pudgal, then only there will be Samyak Darshan. Otherwise, person will not achieve one Samyak Darshan, forget about the achieving the status of moksha. So this is how, at the best, one more point we can say, at the best we can say that whatever bhavas we get, they are only sanyog, no, they are only things that are happening, going along with the soul because of previous karmas, and they really do not belong to the soul. And so it is very important, you can call it a bhed gyan, discrimination between Jeev and Ajeev. What is Jeev, what is soul, what is pure soul, and what is not pure soul. So samasa means soul means pure soul only. While in others, when we talk from the Vyavhar angle, then we attribute the bhavas of Jeev also to the soul. But spiritually speaking, they really do not belong to the soul. And that's why one who understands this kind of a message, Acharya says that his ignorance will go away. He will realize the pure soul and will achieve the status of moksha. So that's why Jiva Jivadika, a unique concept that anything which is not oriented towards pure soul is not on the path of moksha, not path of the liberation. Now we'll shift to the next chapter, which is Karta Karmadhika. It's perhaps the longest chapter in the Samesa, one of the longest. If we take Sarva Vishuddhi Adhikar also as long, not in terms of pages, verses, and like there's so many ways we can consider. But anyway, in a unique chapter not written, a unique chapter found 2000 years ago in the writings of Kundukunda Acharya. And in this particular fashion, it is not found anywhere else. So these two chapters are, every chapter is unique, but these two chapters, speaking from the angle of literature and the enrichment of literature that has been done, is a very unique chapter. So when we go to Karta Karmadhika, again, it is based on the previous one, because once we are able to distinguish between Jeev and Ajeev, that is bhavas belonging to Jeev and bhavas not belonging to Jeev, although done by the Jeev. If that kind of discrimination is there, then person becomes Jnani, as we just said, he becomes a Samyadrashti. And those who do not have this kind of discriminative ability, they remain ignorant. So Karta Karmadhikar Acharya starts with saying that those who do not know the difference, here instead of Jeev, the word has been used as asra, influx of karmas. So those who are not able to distinguish between influx of karmas and the pure soul, they do not have the discriminating ability. And so long as they do not know, they remain ignorant, and they go on doing anger, etc., krodh, man, maya, lobh, all those kind of bhavas. And then they think that they have done it. Somebody have anger, and then you think, okay, see, I got anger, it is very good, it is very bad, I have created sin. All those things people will say, will repent about it, will say kshama, sorry, vichami dukram, all those things we say. But we are not saying that I'm a pure soul, okay, it has been done because of my not discriminating between influx of karma, asra and jeev. That point we forget and try to manipulate the karmas, okay, that in terms of karmas, I did something wrong, and so in terms of karmas, I should do something good. So that's how that kind of a lack of discrimination between the influx of karmas and that of soul, that leads to binding of karmas and infinite existence in this universe. So then what is the way out? So way out is, Acharya says here, that if you continue to do like that, then you accumulate karmas. But if you discriminate between them, then of course you get away from the karmas, and slowly or immediately, depending on one's own efforts, one can achieve liberations. So that's how he starts. Acharya Devi starts like that, and then goes on to build that this asra, this influx of karmas in 72, beautiful concept has been given, that this influx of karmas, they are, of course, he says that it is asuchi, viparita, and asra. Three words and 4 words, or we can say 3 words mainly: Asuchi, Viparit, and Dukh Karan. 72. So what does it really mean? It's a very key. See, Acharya says that this asravas, influx of karmas, or the thoughts that we have, they are impure. Okay, any thought about Gumstan, that I'm a monk, I'm a household, I'm a female, I'm a male, I'm a child, you belong to this caste, you are Shwetambar, I am Digambar, this is Sthanakvasi. All those things belong to what? They do not belong to soul. Soul is soul. It is not Digambar, Shwetambar, or Sthanakvasi, or any other thing, Hindu, Muslims, or Brahmin, or things like that. Soul is a soul. Pure soul is a soul. But any other thought than I'm a pure soul. Pure soul means I'm without karmas or things like that. I'm without the impurities that are there or associated because of karmas. Once such a thing is realized, then the 3 things that Acharya says in 72 is very important. That they are asuchi, all such thoughts are impure. Even you think that I have a pure thought, but it can't be pure unless it is about pure soul. So it is not a pure thought. So all asravas, all influx of karmas is impure. And that's why how the impure thoughts can belong to the soul, and how these such impure thoughts, impure means not about the soul. Anything which is not about the pure soul is impure, ashuddh. So how with that kind of a thing one can achieve liberation or eliminate karmas? And he says this Bhagavan Atma, he is used in this commentary 3 times, the word Bhagavan Atma, that I'm Bhagavan Atma, I'm a pure soul, I'm like Siddh. If anybody considers oneself less than Siddha or less than Arhant, then he has not understood the concept of pure soul. Pure soul means I am like him only. Okay, there may be some differences because of karmas and things like that. But the person with right faith knows that karmas do not belong to me. It is because something that has been done in the previous life, and that is coming to fusion and creating whatever little imbalance of thoughts or destabilization in the meditation. So he knows that. So first thing, these are impure, very pertinent point that the Acharya has made. Second thing, that they are against the nature of soul. They do not belong to the soul, and hence ajiv bhav and like that. And so he says that they are against the nature of soul, and hence they are viparit against what? They are against the nature of Bhagwanpana, the Bhagwan, the Siddha Saman, my soul is there. It is against that, and hence he says that this is of no use. We must discriminate between these. And third thing he says, Dukkha Karan, means it leads to unhappiness. All these thoughts about Ajiv that we narrated earlier, 29 types, all those things, including Gunstan, male, female, whatever, body types, Shatkayakaji, all kinds of things, 6 types of lives and like that. All those things belong to, they create bondage, they lead to unhappiness. So what is the point in thinking about those things? Why not you think about the pure soul? So he addresses 3 times saying this, look, you are Bhagavan Atma. Bhagavan Atma means your Atma is Bhagavan. And hence, don't think anything other than that, or don't think that anything other than that will lead to the moksha or liberation from for a particular thing or for a particular being. So that's how the whole thing has been explained there, and try to explain that it is better that we discriminate between two, and the knower, the jnani, the person with the right belief, only knows about them, but doesn't say that I have done it or I am its doer. And that's how the concept of karta karma is introduced. That what do you think? This desire for, say for example, take Rishabdev Bhagavan again. Today we'll take example 2-3 times. 1 or twice I have already done it. Maybe 1 or 2 more, depending on thought process, you will use that. So do we think that the idea of ahar that came to Rishabdev Bhagwan, he would have thought that I'm hungry. No. Because he knows that this is asra. He would have known, even if it has become a subject matter of his knowledge, he would have known that this is influx. This is going to create more in future life. Dukkha karan. This is impure. This is against the concept of pure soul. So all those three reasons would have applied, and not concentrated or not given weightage to that kind of idea, although gets destabilized and concentrated more on the pure soul itself. So that's how, again, that whole thing we have to understand that he didn't get food because whatever something happened in the previous part of his life, or he did some mistake in while preaching the food things or cultivations and things like that. So we don't have to think that. That's okay. That's maybe part of the story. I'm not saying that that's wrong, but the jnani, the person with the right perception, Samyak Drishti, doesn't think that way. He thinks the entirely different way. We think that, oh, Rishabdev Bhagwan did not get ahar for 1 year. What a tragedy. How would he would have suffered, or he would have suffered so much during that 1 year. No, don't think like that. He would be most busy in experiencing the pure soul and getting the utmost happiness rather than trying to think about that kind of things. So just as we think about Rishabdev, similarly also we should think about others also, and whatever we do in our life in terms of whether we do whatever vows or if you do upvas and things like that, at that time we have to be very careful in understanding our thought process. So now again pursue that thing. So what was the thing he would have done it? I mean, in terms of becoming, of course, 75, 78, 79, all those things, verses, gathas deal with that thing. So 2 or 3 very important logic. There are many, but I will just take 2 or 3 important logic that has been given by Acharya here to explain that the concept of karta and karma. So what he says is that karta is somebody who can independently do the things, that is karta, and karma is whatever he does, that's a karma. So the logic that is given here is that if you are a doer, then that thought process should permeate or spread into the entire destiny. Then only you become a doer. So from atta, if you make a roti, then the whole art in roti, or roti is nothing but whatever atta, okay, converted into some form from the previous form. So atta is the karta of roti, and not the lady or the man or the machine who made a roti. They are not the doer. And if they are not doer, why do we take a pride that I have done it and then create an influx and create a process of karmic bondage? In the same way, so many things. If a pot maker is making a pot and like that, then his hand has not gone into that. Or if you make whatever, any other food items or tailor or whatever, if a tailor is whatever sewing the clothes and like that, that tailor's hand has not entered into the cloth. It remains different. So transformation takes place in an object. Then if it is a karta, if you say, that's okay. But if transformation doesn't take place, then it doesn't become the doctor has treated the patient. Okay. We say that because of this doctor, only this. Of course, corona everywhere talks are like that. So he has treated the patient. Okay. But how to treat that? Doctor has to enter into the body of patient. So unless it is so, in terms of strict spiritual principles, strict philosophy, we cannot say that he has done this work. So then what it is? Okay. Then at the best we can say that he was a nimitta.
He was present there. He had a knowledge about it. That all we can say. But we can't say that I have done it. I have written book. I can give a lecture. I can do this painting so well, or things like that. I can treat people. I can whatever. I can do exercise. I can do yoga. All those things belongs to Pudgal. Pure soul doesn't need all those things. Pure soul doesn't do all those things. Pure soul function is only knowing and seeing, Gyata Drashta. Other than that, there is no function of the pure soul. And hence, if a soul does other than this function, it leads to karmic bondage. And hence, one should be very, very careful in visualizing as to what we have done and what we have not done. Then Acharya further says in some of the verses that how can you be called a karta, doer? How or doer relationships again? So 3 points have been said. One is that karta is one, doer is one who can do something new. So that way, if you look at, then there is nothing new that anybody does it. Okay? If a milk is getting converted into whatever curd or things like that, दूध से मक्खन या दूध से दही बनता है, and then from that again makhan and ghee out of that. So who has done this? It is nothing new. It was known. It is there already. Ghee is already there in the milk, and so okay, through some process somebody has put some hand and try to take out of it. But this is not his creation. It was already done. It was already there in the properties of the milk, and that's why it has become a gift. Same way, some gold ornament, that gold has a property to get converted into some ornament and like that. And so if you get one ornament to another, we have not done anything. Goldsmith has not done anything. Anything means goldsmith has not entered into it and made it. Okay. So he has made use of the knowledge that he had. But if we say that this is function of the soul, then it is not the function of the soul. It is because of the karmas. He has some special kshoksham dhyan, specific knowledge about certain things. And because of that knowledge, he is able to do that. But that knowledge is also. That knowledge is about Ajiva only. And hence, if such knowledge is there, so nothing new can be done by anybody in this universe. Whatever objects are there, because of knowledge of the properties of those substances, certain things happen. And that too, we can't say that it has really been done by us. It is in the process that it happens. If it is possible to do so, we would have done it so long now. If it is possible for a doctor to treat a corona patient, it would have been over. Nobody will die. But it is not so. Some other factors governs. Call it Ayukarma, call it whatever, Vedana, whatever, whichever way we want to say. Mainly call it in terms of Ayukarma. So, and that too, that Ayukarma doesn't belong to the soul. It belongs to the Pudgal. Soul is a soul. Soul doesn't have Ayu. Soul is eternal. Pure soul is eternal. And hence, if you think in terms of Ayu, then it is influx of karma. If you think that I have become sick, that means soul has become sick. It is the influx of karmas. And this is how that I have done this or I am enjoying this. Karta and Bhokta, Karta, Karma and Bhokta, all those things if you think, then we are thinking on the wrong direction. And such a person can never realize the pure soul and can never attain moksha. Second point Acharya says is that the doer, can it create a special impact in anything? No. If the ornament or the gold doesn't have property to get converted into one to another ornament, what anybody can do? Nothing. We cannot do anything. In iron or in other metals, we cannot do that so easily. So if it cannot, there is nothing that we can do. So Acharya says then that we cannot do a new thing, we cannot do a special things, and then what happens? That that object or that ajiv or that karma, whatever way it has to modify itself, or modification or paryaya, whatever paryaya is to take place, that paryaya takes place, and we can't say that I have done it. If a person dies, you can't say that I have died. Matlab, I have caused my death. No, nobody can cause his own death. Instrumentally, nimitta, by associated factors, we can say, but people die because of whatever, because the body. So body dies because of age karma, ayu karma, and soul doesn't happen to that. If anybody thinks that I die because of soul karma, sorry, ayu karma or age karma, he's a mithya in my view. I'm eternal. But this body dies because of this ayu karma, then it's okay. But if without understanding this logic between the two, that is, without realizing that I am eternal soul and I do not die, I am eternal, no karmic bondage process will stop it. It will go on happening and people will never come out of this. So nothing can be, I mean, all these things, new modifications or distorted modifications or just happening because of our little efforts and like that, all those things are not possible. Possible means not possible means do not belong to pure soul. Pure soul doesn't do all those things. Whatever happens in the universe, it is because of the properties of those substances and not because of the soul. Soul is not causing anything. Whatever we say, that Bhagwan has done like this, Bhagwan has caused this thing, Bhagwan is punishing papis or whatever, souls which are impure, and because of this disease and corona and all kinds of things. This is all wrong. Nothing. Why the Bhagwan should do it? What for Bhagwan? Why then he created? So all those things because of karmic operations and not because of any other thing. Nobody is a doer. First and foremost principle of Jain philosophy, that nobody is a doer, nobody can do anything. But whatever is happening in the universe, all substances have their properties and modifications, and these keep on happening. There is nothing that we can do, or whatever little we can do out of our knowledge, do it. But don't think that you have done it. It has happened because of if you give medicine to somebody, or if you do yoga and somebody improves his or her health, it's because of properties of the body and not because of pure soul. Soul has not done it. Soul can do only Gyaya Bhav, Gyata Drishta, and that's why only if that is done, one can embark on moksha and nothing else. So all those things are categorized now, to summarize, into two categories. One is Vyavhar. Vyavhar is what we observe. Same thing was said in the first chapter also, that whatever we observe or see from outside, or we see from ajiv angle, or we see from karma angle, that is all Vyavhar. That's all the observed view, or in practice what we see, that's Vyavhar. And then when we talk of pure soul, that belongs to the Nishtay. So this way, we have to know both Vyavhar and Nishtay. Vyavhar we can observe, but our objective should be only pure soul and nothing else. And so looking from that point of view, the soul is not a doer of the external, and soul is not a enjoyer of everything. We can say that I'm enjoying wealth, or I'm enjoying whatever image or a particular position and things like that. The soul doesn't enjoy. It is all because of rise of karmas and our wrong belief, our ignorance that I am doing it. So then it is concluded that it is a false belief, it is ignorance, and it is a lack of restraints or lack of understanding that leads to these kind of things. And at the best now, Acharya concludes later on, that at the best what Jeev is doing, out of ignorance and disbelief, at the best we are imagining certain things. We can only imagining certain things that yes, it will happen like that. We only imagine that this will happen and this will not happen. So those things keep on happening. But the Acharya gives one very simple argument, is that one substance cannot do two works. Soul will do soul's functions. Pudgal will do Pudgal functions. Soul cannot do Pudgal function and soul's functions. If any object or any substance can do two functions, the functions of the other substance, then Vikriyavadi means it is Mithya Drishti. It is a false belief. So always believe that it cannot be done like that. And then ultimately it is concluded like this, that whatever you look it from Pudgal angle, you look it from soul angle, or from soul also you can say in different ways. They are all Nayapaksh. They are only viewpoints. And because of these viewpoints, ideas may differ, look different. But if viewpoints are different, then we have to get rid of. Actually, one of the expression Amarachandra Acharya says is that liberation means, moksha means, mukti from Nayas. We take from one particular point and then try to emphasize and say that yes, because of it is so. And the person with the right knowledge or Samyak Drishti always think that if somebody is saying that yes, I'm hungry or I'm not hungry, it is all because of Nayapaksh and nothing else. Did Shreyansh Raja? No. Gave whatever Parana to Rishabdev Bhagavan. Okay, stories like that. But why he did not get idea earlier? Why it took him so long to realize that what is the Ahar Vidhi? So to say that yes, Shreyansh Raja gave Ahar to Rishabdev Bhagavan. Okay, as far as Nimitt is concerned, it is all right. As far as Vyavahar is concerned, it is okay. But it is, or Rishabdev took Ahar, that's also Vyavahar. Actually, Rishabdev knows that Atma is Anahara. It doesn't take food. And so even he takes a food, he remains without food. And Mukti is a mismukti from Nayapaksh. Because we are all in the clutches of our ideas. And that idea is only one paksh, one side, one viewpoint. And so if we get rid of these different viewpoints and get at beyond that, of what Amarachandra Acharya says is, if you go beyond this, beyond Nayas, and realize that I'm a pure soul, that is Samasar. He gives the meaning of Samasar in 42, 43, 44, that if you go beyond Nayapaksh and then see that I'm a pure soul, don't get bogged down by karma, ayu karma, and so many things like that. Go straight away, go beyond this and know that I'm a pure soul. And if you say so, or if you realize that, then it is going beyond Nayas, that is realizing pure soul, and that is the liberation. So that's how the Acharya explains this. And of course, whatever time is there, I try to summarize whatever best possible manner is there. And so 134 and 144, it is summarized like that, that beyond Nayapaksh ke par, Samasar.
Sir, कौन से
Nayapaksh se virhit jo.
Sir, कौन से कलश
Right, we conclude, no? That's all. 144 says that Nayapaksh sakal vihin bhashit vah samay ka sar hai. Nayapakshon se rahit, that is beyond Nayapaksh. Because whatever all ideas, karmas, angle or whatever, it is only one side of the story. It doesn't belong to the pure soul, doesn't talk of pure soul. So if you know about pure soul, so first chapter says that you are a pure soul. Second chapter says that you distinguish pure soul from Ajiv. And Karta Karmadhikar says that don't get indulged into I am doing this and that. It happens because of the nature of substance and modifications that are inbuilt into the process. And so you remain the observer, you remain the Gyata Drashta, you remain that the belief that I'm a pure soul, then things will become okay. So, okay, we will stop here. One or two questions if are there, we'll take it. Or any comment, need not be questions.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Jinendra, this is Ashok.
Okay.
Thanks for enlightening on a very auspicious day. I just got one clarification, which if you could explain little more. You were explaining about two bhavs. One is the pure soul bhav, the other one is a putkal bhav. So can you just give some example of a pure soul bhav? Putkal bhav, we all know it's all kashai and then saying that everything we do and ego and all that. So can you give some example of a pure soul bhav?
I try to give indirectly that soul is a knower and knower only. Okay, Gyata Drashta, observer. The soul function is only to observe, to know about it. So if we remain neutral, then only it becomes, say, what Siddha Bhagavan is doing, for example. Siddha Bhagavan, omniscient, whatever, omniscience is there, Sarvagyata is there, he knows everything. But does he do anything? No. Same thing, Aran Paramatman. He knows everything. He sees everything, but he doesn't do anything. So if we want to become or like Aran, then we have to also remain observer and not indulge into it, not to become karta of that. That's what the essence is. Arant, Siddha, Acharya, Upadhyaya, and Sadhu, all these five people or five categories of souls, they are all they are all engaged in observing the things. Why Diksha? Because you don't want to indulge in anything. You just remain observer to what is happening. So there is a saying by this thing. Arhant Siddha Acharya Jai Sadhu e Paramestipan Ye Atma ki avasthaएं Atma hi hai Sharan. Arhant Siddha Acharya Upadhyaya, whose shelter they take? They take the shelter of pure soul. So the all Samyak Drishti, all this, as I said, five in major category, they're all engaged in pursuit of pure soul. And that's why they are great. And that's why we respect and worship them.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Sir, can I?
Becomes clear, I hope so.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. Thank you.
Sir, I have a question, sir. It's not a question, rather it is a request for another lecture on the different kinds of bhav. This, hello.
Madam, you're not audible. You're not audible, madam.
Hello.
You're not
Yeah, I'm
audible,
not able
madam.
to hear.
Hello.
We're not able to hear you, madam. No, madam.
Hello. Am I audible now?
Now, yes, madam. Now you're audible.
Sir, this chapter talks about many kinds of bhav, like Gye Gyayak bhav, Bhavya Bhavak bhav, Vyapya Vyapak bhav, and all this. And there are so many other kinds of sambandh and relations. तो एक और लेक्चर अगर आप ये सारे भावों के ऊपर अगर आप कभी नेक्स्ट लेक्चर अगर आप समय सार को रख करके ले सकते हैं.
Yes, yes. We can do that. No.
All these technical terms are there in this chapter. All these technical terms are there in this chapter. Bhavya Bhavak, Vyapak, Gye Gyayak bhav. तो इससे भी हम इस चैप्टर को कॉन्सेप्ट्स को समझ सकते हैं. तो
if you want in brief now or
आप जैसा ठीक समझे सर. आप जैसा ठीक समझे.
नहीं, we one line answer is that this three types of sambandh, Gye Gyayak is very simple. That the other things in the universe, they are object of knowledge, and soul is the observer only. Pure soul is Gyayak, and the rest of the things that are there in this universe, they are object of knowledge. They are Gye. Vyapya Vyapak bhav means, I try to explain it in a different way, that there is a rise of karma in our life, whatever, because of previous karmas. And as per that, if we think, or as per that, if we do bhavas, then it is bhavya bhavak. That Vartaman, the present bhav, is caused because of the bhavak, previous karmas. So that becomes the bhavya bhava. Then ge gya.
ओके सर, इसको और डिटेल में पढ़ना है, बहुत बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है ये सारे भाव।
कभी लेंगे थोड़ा सा मैं देख
हाँ,
करके गाथा के द्वारा।
ओके सर, इसको व्हाट आई वुड लाइक टू से इज द मोर एंड मोर यू गो डीप इनटू समय
आपका आवाज बहुत लो आ रहा है एकदम।
सर मेरे को दैट्स व्हाई आई एम क्वाइट सर, आई कैन नॉट डू एनीथिंग ओवर हियर। वन सेकंड सर। हेलो,
सॉरी मैडम, सम ऑडियो प्रॉब्लम है।
यस सर, यस, अभी ठीक है सर।
Slightly better, but still problem is there.
That's why, sir, I will not opt for talking. If anybody has any doubts, please ask.
So, Jai Jinendra sir, this is Shobha here. Thank you very much for a very enlightening talk, sir. So from what I understand is that the soul is a karta also. It's a doer, but the doing is only knowing and seeing. So the upayog of the soul is only knowing and seeing, and it's not the upadan karta for anything.
For other substances, yes. For other substances, soul is not the upadan. Soul is upadan for its own knowledge and seeing ability and other properties. In other words, what this chapter says is that whatever is happening in the universe and we are taking credit, that's wrong, no? It happens in life also. No? Somebody else does certain things and we say that I have done it, then it is considered wrong ethics. In the same way, in this universe, all substances are doing their work. Soul is also doing its own work. And if soul is claiming that, yes, I am doing the work of Pudgal, I am doing the work of other time and other things, then it is wrong. It is morally wrong, it is spiritually wrong, it is fundamentally wrong. And hence, such a person goes on creating karmic bondage. And so person who remains Gyata, Drashta, Gyayak, or knower and seeing, that person gets liberated soon.
So the soul is the upadan for what, sir?
Upadan takes place only in its own substance. We cannot do upadan for other substances.
Yeah. So the upayog of soul is only, it is doing upadan for knowing and seeing, nothing else.
Right, exactly. Even Bhagwan does not do anything. Bhagwan has become the supreme soul, purest soul. And that also they do not do. They remain observer. They remain sarvagya, vitra, gyata, drashta. So if that practice we develop, then come Bhagwan.
So one more question, sir. What is the relationship of chitti with the soul, atma? Chitti, that is consciousness. What is the relationship of atma?
Consciousness.
Yes,
Chetana, consciousness or Chetana or Atma, they are same thing. In Jain philosophy, there is hardly any difference. Okay? Because consciousness or Chetana is the property of soul. So in some other philosophy, they make some distinctions and like that. But in Jain philosophy, it is same thing. Say if you use one word in last property is given in the samesar in the annexure. They say if we use one word, Atma is living thing. Then somebody asks, what do you mean by living? Then samesar says that living means knowing and seeing. Or Living means Chetana, consciousness. And what is living? Consciousness. What is consciousness? Then living as, seeing and knowing. That is consciousness.
So when we use the word life of consciousness, I see this word coming in the Pure Soul book, life of consciousness. That means life of consciousness is knowing and seeing.
No, live is living thing. Live is living. Just
So
we say
what's
live program. Soul is always live.
So what's the
Soul is
meaning of,
always living in the sense that it is live. What is the meaning of?
what is the meaning of that word life of consciousness?
Life of consciousness. Yeah, it's always conscious, that's all. Means knowing and seeing, that is always there. Soul for a moment does not cease to be doing that, not doing that function. Soul is eternally knowing and seeing the things, just as Siddha Bhagavan does it, or even those who are not liberated, but the soul is doing that function only.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else has any question? Otherwise, we would like to wind up the lecture. We would like to thank Sir for beautifully and very briefly summarizing the Jiva Jivadikar and the Karta Karmadikar, and the focus being on the pure soul, and today being Akshay Tritiya. We hope we all realize the Samaysar that is there in all of us. And we'd like to thank Sir and request him to again be with us next Friday with another topic which the first years would like to suggest. Any topic that you people want, please put it on the WhatsApp group so that I can communicate to Sir. Thank you, Sir. Thank you so much. Anybody else has any question? We welcome Bhayani Sir is with us. Bhayani जी दिख रहे हैं ना सर आपको? उनका नाम मुझे नहीं, भूपेंद्र भाई भयानी.
भूपेंद्र भाई, चल, ओके.
हाँ, भूपेंद्र भाई भी हमारे साथ है सर. जय जिनेंद्र सर.
हाँ, very nice.
And some of our alumni students also have joined, so we welcome them and we thank them.
Sir, so nice of them to join.
Yes, sir. Ram sir and Malarvili madam, and I don't know who all are there on the other end. So Sunanda, Varsha Gandhi.
Ramkumar ji is there.
Ramkumar sir is there. Varsha Gandhi bhi hai. From Surat, she has joined us.
Yeah, right. Oh, yes. Great.
Yes, Varsha, she
first
always
batch type of student. No, first batch whom I taught Samaysar.
Ma'am, I didn't forget that the word Alinga Grahan.
Alinga Grahan, yes. Yes, sir.
Alinga Grahan, Yeah,
Yes.
I wanted to take that. Alinga Grahan means, can I take a minute? Just 1 minute.
Yes, sir, yes.
Means symbol. Linga means symbol. Alinga Grahan means the soul cannot be understood by any symbol. We may use symbol. Even may draw a picture of soul, okay? Or we have swastik, or we have other symbols. Right, Om. So what this verse says is that no symbol can express the soul. They can be all indicative, but they do not represent the soul, because they will be all imaginations. They will be all vikalp. They will be all contemplations and not the real thing. Real soul has to be understood and seen in the Keval Gyan, in omniscience. Because if a symbol can represent the soul, what we will see in the omniscience, in Keval Gyan. So that's what it means. Alinga Grahan means no symbol can represent just our body. Does our body represent the soul? No. Our mind or whatever. They do not represent.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, again. That's all, sir. We'll wind up today's lecture.
Okay,
And,
thank you very much. Thanks for questions.
Yes, sir. And we wish everybody a happy Akshay Tritiya, and may we all realize the Akshay Samaysar.
Yeah, all, yeah, she's very, very good. Right.
Thank you, Bhupendra Bhai, for joining us and for blessing us. Thank you, sir. Kajal, we request you to kindly take the class forward from here. Are you there, Kajal? Kajal,
Bhupendra Bhai, Jai Jinendra.
where is Kajal? Vidit, please call Kajal, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Kajal, are you there?
Ma'am, I'll call her.
I'm
ma'am.
not able to see that.
Yeah, Kajal is not there. Yeah. Sir, I would like to inform you, you're here since they're all reading the red book, the Samaysar book that you have rendered for the Department of Jainology. So they are reading the Samaysar book and the Pravachansar book. Can I request the students to kindly give your response for the two books that you have been reading? How useful they are?
This is, I've read earlier Samaysar written by Professor Chakravarti Nainar, and I'm now reading this. I would say that I'm able to see more simplified form for a starter to understand and then move forward. It's a lovely book. Both Samaysar and Pravachachar, both are fantastic, sir.
Yeah. It's written as a textbook only so that students can complete it in one semester and like that. Of course, for deeper reading, one has to further go to the other sources.
It is a wonderful book to start with, sir, actually. As you said, no, we can
Yeah.
complete this book in this semester. It's a wonderful book to start with, and the Gathas are explained very nicely.
Okay, good.
So it is very nice to read this book, sir.
Mhm.
So
Right, good, thank you.
I read Samaysar along with the other complementary book, that's Pure Soul and its Infinite Treasure, sir. And it
Ah.
makes me understand
Sure, sure.
also that
Yes,
thanks
sir.
to this,
That will help,
Pure
yeah.
Soul, very helpful. Thank you.
Yes, Vidit, has Kajal ma'am joined us? Okay, sir.
I
Sir, we'll
tried
bring the
calling her,
meeting
ma'am, but
to-
I'm unable to contact.
Okay.
It's just
Sir,
ringing.
we'll bring the meeting to an end, sir. I'll request everybody to join
Okay.
again. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Jai Jinendra.
Bhupendra Bhai. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Jai Jinendra.
Thank you, sir. Jai Jinendra. Thank you, ma'am. Jai
Thank you,
Jinendra.
sir. Jai Jinendra.
Jai Jinendra. Jai Jinendra.
Jai Jinendra.
Vidit,